When I saw the trending recipe that turns rice paper into croissants, I knew I had to give it a try. The original recipe uses eggs mixed with milk, butter, sugar, and baking powder. Making a vegan version, I knew I had to get creative. At my local supermarket, I couldn't find a suitable egg replacer, and this was sort of a blessing in disguise because I was never generally a fan of eggy tasting desserts. As a substitute, I grabbed some vegan cream, which on the packet said was lentil protein based, so I figured that this might give the croissant a bit of body. So I mixed that with melted vegan butter, sugar, vanilla extract, and baking powder. Then I proceeded to dip the pieces of rice paper in it. The pieces couldn't fit into the bowl I was using, so I transferred the mixture to a flat plate. I made sure to submerge each piece completely so that it was fully soaked through. Then I layered 3 of the rice paper pieces on top of each other and allowed them to sit for a bit so that they could soften up. The technique for cutting is to trace a triangle onto the circle and cut it out in the way that I'm doing. It's quite fiddly because the rice paper absorbs a lot of liquid and becomes very slippery and sticky to work with. After cutting out the shapes, you take one side and lay it flat on the bottom with a rounded side facing towards you, and then place the second piece directly on top as I'm doing. Then simply take it from the bottom and roll it up into your signature croissant crescent shape. I tried to roll it as loosely as possible so that when I cut into it, I would be able to see the layers a bit more clearly. At least that was what I was hoping for. I placed it on a lined baking tray, then I went ahead and repeated the process. I even tried one with 4 layers just to see if that would make a difference to the honeycomb effect of the croissant. Once they were all prepped, I baked them in a preheated oven for 30 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius, and as you can see, it was a total fail. The croissants did not rise at all. They were very flat, very tough, really hard to cut into, and they did not look very appetizing. All of the butter leaked out, and it seems as though the vegan cream had a very high fat content as well, so that didn't help. There was no shape or body to the croissant. The layers were translucent and very crackly on the outside. The inside was kind of chewy, but really not great. I wanted to make something that was at least edible, so this time around I had to think on my feet, and I created a simple pancake batter mixture with melted vegan butter, soya milk, self-raising flour, sugar, and vanilla. I mixed all that together and repeated the process of dipping the rice paper pieces in, cutting and folding them into the croissant shapes. I reckon the appeal of the rice paper croissant is that it is gluten-free, so this technique I'm using is probably not ideal. But if you really are all about the gluten-free aspect of this recipe, then I suppose you could try using a gluten-free self-raising flour instead. This was sort of a cheap way of giving shape to the rice paper croissant without the egg flavor. After shaping up my croissants, I put them on a tray, sprinkled some granulated sugar on top, and again into the oven for 25 to 30 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius. This time, when I looked through the oven, I could see that they were puffing up a little bit, so that was a good sign. When they were done, they looked pretty decent to me. They had puffed up nicely and looked crispy and golden brown outside. I cut into it, and as I expected, there was a little bit of layering going on, but it was very stodgy. Imagine a pancake rolled up into a croissant shape. That's pretty much what it was. The good thing though was that the outside was nice and crispy, as I said, and even the edges of the croissant came out really crunchy and tasty. So if you don't mind the chewy pancake center, then I suppose this is fine. But it's definitely not a croissant and doesn't taste like a croissant. I think the elements of the butter and vanilla makes it pleasant enough to eat and gives the illusion of eaten a pastry even. It's not a terrible vegan interpretation overall. It's something to try if you're feeling experimental, but I wouldn't go out of my way to make it this again. If I want a pancake, I'll just go ahead and make a pancake the normal way. And if I want a croissant, I may not go through all the trouble of making one from scratch, but I might just find myself one to buy and enjoy. I hope you enjoyed watching this little experiment. Let me know what you think of this trending recipe. Have you made it yourself? If you're vegan, have you created a vegan version that was successful? If so, what ingredients did you use? Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I post a new video every week, and I will catch you next time. Bye.